Hey, so we are going to be focusing on a TDA pre-writing and TDA draft. I'm going to be giving you some examples using a different biography, but it should guide your way. I've only changed a few words in this prompt you're looking at right now, and then we're going to go to the pre-writing portion together. All right. Biographies use a variety of text organizational strategies to relate the lives and accomplishments of famous individuals. Examine text organization strategies in paragraphs in Lorraine Hansberry. In the paragraphs of Lorraine Hansberry, pardon me. This is just the sample version. Yours is a little more specific and a little more useful. Now, if you take a look, this is the pre-writing, and we're going to look at these strategies now. One of those strategies is chronological, the order in which events occur. Think of a timeline, right? You know, ooh, let me get those hands in there. And then you got the lines in it. Along the way, and it's like 1900 this happened, 1905 that happened, right? Two examples. Mr. Surface was born in 1983 but couldn't whistle properly until he was 25 in 2007. Ooh, it sounds good now though. The inventor was a contemporary of Edison who patented his elephant electrocutor in 1901. And notice that those bold words in both sentences: born, time-related, contemporary, time-related. Let me get that off there. 1983, 25, 27, patented is a time-related term. 1901, of course, is time-related, right? That's why those words are in bold. They're chronological. So they're using a chronological order to get it in and get it done. Next is comparison and contrast. I bet you heard that before. Explanation and analysis of the similarities and differences between related subjects or events, right? So Mr. Surface, a subject, was quite different. There's a difference from Mr. Parrish, the other subject, who taught math and has a beautiful singing voice, which is true. The teenagers were less risk averse than the 36-year-old father of three. Well, since it's a comparison and not a sequence, it's than, T-H-A-N. Notice that's in bold. And less, more, right? That describes a difference. Okay. That's comparison contrast. Last one we're going to cover is cause and effect. And I know you've probably heard that one before too. All right, an explanation of why something happens and how it affects other things. So Mr. Surface kicked. There's the something that happens. There's the cause. A lot of puppies. And here's the effect, and earned a reputation as a cruel sociopath. Not true, just an example I thought you'd remember. The teenagers speeded consistently, so new legislation was drawn up forcing curfews on drivers younger than 18, right? Consistently means that it's an ongoing sequence, right? They speed over time. There's the cause, the effect, there's new legislation drawn up. Now that new legislation might have many different actors and events and a timeline that goes with it. So cause and effect is kind of a good way to understand it, even though I'm sure you could use other ways of talking about the paragraph. Now, let's talk a little about Lorraine Hansberry, who wrote the best play ever written by a human, A Raisin in the Sun. We're going to look at a little video of her bio, and we're going to read her bio together, and then we're going to get started on this pre-write, okay? So,
the wonderful Lorraine Hansberry. When you go through this play, she is talking about issues relevant today.
There's our subject. There's the best play ever. All right. May 19th, 1930. Chronological. Here, Hansberry Lee's anti-segregation lawsuit, which eventually made its way to the Supreme Court, eventually shows a cause and effect relationship, or chronological if you like. Comparing her to W.E. Du Bois, comparison. Here again we have chronological. Cause and effect. Chronological. Chronological. Cause and effect. Chronological. Comparison and contrast. Chronological. Cause and effect. Chronological. 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 31st, way too young. Your best, Lorraine. All right. So we now have a bio that I'd like you to take a look at as well, Lorraine Hansberry. All right. We're going to break it down after we read it. Synopsis. Lorraine Hansberry was born on May 19th, 1930 in Chicago, Illinois. She wrote A Raisin in the Sun, a play about a struggling black family, which opened on Broadway to a great success. Hansberry was the first black playwright and the youngest American to win a New York Circle Critic Award. Throughout her life, she was heavily involved in the civil rights. She died at 34 of pancreatic cancer. Her early life, playwright, author, activist, the granddaughter of a freed slave, and the youngest by 7 years of 4 children, Lorraine Vivian Hansberry III was born on May 19th, 1930 in Chicago, Illinois. Hansberry's father was a successful real estate broker, and her mother was a school teacher. Her parents contributed large sums of money to the NAACP and the Urban League, and in 1938, Hansberry's family moved to a white neighborhood and was violently attacked by neighbors. They refused to move until a court ordered them to do so, and the case made it to the Supreme Court as Hansberry versus Lee, ruling restrictive covenants illegal. Hansberry broke her family's tradition of enrolling in Southern black colleges and instead attended the University of Wisconsin in Madison. While at school, she changed her major from painting to writing, and after 2 years decided to drop out to move to New York City. Commercial success. In New York City, Hansberry attended the New School for Social Research and then worked for Paul Robeson's progressive black newspaper Freedom as a writer and associate editor from 1950 to 1953. She also worked as a waitress and cashier and wrote in her spare time. By 1956, Hansberry quit her jobs and committed her time to writing. In 1957, she joined the Daughters of Bilitis and contributed letters to their magazine, The Ladder, about feminism and homophobia. Her lesbian identity was exposed in the articles, but she wrote under her initials LH for fear of discrimination. And during this time, Hansberry wrote The Crystal Stair, a play about a struggling black family in Chicago, which later renamed Raisin in the Sun, a line from Langston Hughes' poem, as is Crystal Stair. The play opened at Ethel Barrymore Theater on March 11, 1959, and was a great success in having a run of 530 performances. It was the first play produced from Broadway by an African-American woman, and Hansberry was the first black playwright and the youngest American to win a New York Critics Award. The film version of A Raisin in the Sun was completed in 1961, starring Sidney Poitier, and received an award at the Cannes Film Festival. In 1963, Hansberry became active in the civil rights movement along with other influential people, including Harry Belafonte, Lena Horne, and James Baldwin. Hansberry met with Attorney General Robert Kennedy to test his position on civil rights, and in 1963, her second play, The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window, opened on Broadway to unenthusiastic reception. Sophomore slump. Personal life. Hansberry met Robert Nemiroff, a Jewish songwriter, on a picket line, and the two were married in 1953. Hansberry and Nemiroff divorced in 1962, though they continued to work together. And in 1964, the same year The Sign of Sidney Brustein's Window opened, Hansberry was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She died on January 12, 1965. After her death, Nemiroff adapted a collection of her writings and interviews, To Be Young, Gifted, and Black, which opened off-Broadway at Cherry Lane Theater and ran for 8 months. Okay, there's the biography we're going to use to get organized. Let's take a look. So we went over all the organizational strategies. Did that text use any organizational strategies? Did they? Well, I would say they certainly used chronological, right? This whole bit here about her meeting her husband. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to copy and paste it, and I'm going to put it right here. And since it's only one page, basically, we'll be good to go. Now, do they have a compare and contrast? Well, we got to look. We got to look. She's compared with these other black leaders. Now you could say it's chronological because they have you could probably find the date for when that is, but it's also comparing her, right? She is one of the group of that influential group. James Baldwin being my favorite among them to read. Cause and effect. Oh, I know a good one. Right? Early on, we heard that she had to fight in Supreme Court, right? So her parents contributed to the NAACP, and then they pursued a case all the way to the Supreme Court and defeated the racist jerks in Chicago. So let's go ahead and get that in there, cause and effect. Yes, indeed. And of course, that ended up being the subject of the play later, but that wasn't included in the biography. So, all right, chronological, compare and contrast, or cause and effect. I know. Let's do one more chronological. All right, and let's go with the easy one, right? We'll go with the easy one just this one time. Her birth, right? We'll put that right in there. All right, I got my pre-writing done. It's all page 1. It's all, well, the paragraph numbers I don't quite have, but it would be something like in reverse, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so keep on keeping on. We're done pre-writing. Let's get to writing the actual essay in the next video.